Hello and welcome to filing your beneficial owner information form or BOI report with FinCEN. I am the LawTog. We are going to go over the key information for compliance of this requirement that is all abuzz on the internet right now. But before we dig in, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and then we'll get right to the meat of it. My name is Brenke. I'm an attorney, photographer, business consultant, and I'm also the founder of TheLawTog, the leading legal resource for photographers. Been in the industry for going on 15 years now. I primarily represent photographers and I love it. I have a unique blend of legal expertise and a passion for creative industries, as well as a background as a photographer. And I've dedicated my career to helping photographers and other creative entrepreneurs navigate the legal aspects of their business. Through the LawTog, we offer legal templates, contracts, checklists, downloads, educational resources, and practical advice to empower you all to protect your work and grow confidently. Before we dive in, I got to do my own little CYA, the fine print, because I'm an attorney, can't go right past that. I am a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. Unless you want me to be, then we can work that out and talk about it. This presentation is general legal information for education only. Always consult with local counsel. So, my big idea and belief with everything legal, and this is not me just saying this as a lawyer, but I believe you never have an issue until you have an issue. So we have three major options that you can do with us and things that I would recommend. One, get on our email list. Go to thelawtog.com. Don't think that you may already be on it because we have a lot of good stuff rolling out coming soon. Go and just sign up again. It's not going to throw you into any issues. Just get on the email list. It's all free. Then we have our Legal Academy. This is our online course. So many modules, so much information, good checklists, good takeaways. You can get in and get bite-sized. You can get in and learn all the things legal that you need for setting up, running, marketing, taxes, insurance, you name it, for your photography business. And of course, I will never, ever not recommend that you have a solid lawyer relationship with a lawyer, but more specifically, they need to understand the photography industry and all the intricacies of that, because while we are service providers, we also have physical intellectual property, whether it's printed or we're doing digital files. So you need to have a lawyer that understands that as well. Now, my firm, Eden Law Firm, eden-law.com, does work one-on-one with attorneys. That's separate from the LawTog. That is more the customized legal advice. You can go over there and understand things like BOI, copyright, trademark. That's all federal. So no matter what state you're in, we can help you. I can specifically help you. You can also take a look at the state-specific things such as contracts, business setup, audits, etc. And you can see what states that we have over there. So now let's get to the meat of why you all are here. What is the BOI report that everybody is abuzz right now? This is a report detailing beneficial ownership information. I mean, it's in the acronym BOI. We're going to go through all the contents of it, but it's essentially identifying to the government, to FinCEN specifically, owners' names, addresses, date of birth, and identification. The purpose of this being enacted under the Corporate Transparency Act is to increase transparency to prevent financial crimes. Where we're at now, doesn't matter where you stand politically or what your belief in government, and having one more administrative thing to do, you're going to want to do it because when we get into the penalties, you're going to want to avoid those. So who needs to file? This is going to be what's most important for you all right here. Companies and entities. So any entity that's former registered in the United States, such as limited liability companies or corporations. I'm not talking sole proprietors, just LLCs and corporations. The triggering idea or the triggering qualification is if you have submitted and formalized setup with your state, LLC or a corporation, then you need to file the BOI. However, do not click away from this because I'm going to tell you there's different timelines based on when you set it up, changes, etc. But if you are a sole proprietor, it means you've never submitted to be an LLC or a corporation. We need to have a conversation. We need to get you into the LawTog Legal Academy. I do not recommend sole proprietorship. Never have in my entire career, probably never will again in the future. So what are beneficial owners that have to file? Anyone with significant ownership or control. And I would imagine that the majority of you that are watching this, listening to this, are going to be ones with either full control or at least significant partial control. So you may be in a partnership that's 50-50, or you are maybe a solo photographer. It's going to be you. You're going to need to do it. There are exemptions, but I went through them all with FinCEN, and pretty much those in the LawTog audience, you photographers watching this are not going to fall under the exempt categories. It's going to be like public companies, government entities, etc. So don't believe that there's any exemption because you're not making a certain amount of money, or there's a certain exemption because Maybe you file it as an S Corp and not just a C Corp. You're still a corporation and you need to do it. So here's a good little flow chart for you guys to take a look at here. This is directly from FinCEN. So it says, under what law was the company created or formed? I put this in here in case there are some of you that are from outside the US. You would then go down the right-hand side, laws of a foreign country, walk through that. But US laws, is your company or corporation? Yes, then you're going to be a domestic reporting company. If it's no, is your company a limited liability company? Then yes, you may be a domestic reporting company. But if corporation is no, limited liability company is no. The last question, which I just kind of mentioned, was the company created by filing of a document with the Secretary of State or any similar office under the law of state or Indian tribe? Now, keep in mind here, this is not just filing for a business license as a sole proprietor. This is having the company created. Business licenses are giving you permission to do activity, all right? They're completely different things. So where are we going to file this BOI report? I'm going to walk through like kind of these high level things so we get into how to actually do the filing. You're going to file through FinCEN's online filing system. I'm going to give you the link here in a little bit. There are two major options. You can do PDF or online. Highly suggest online. The interface is actually very user friendly, good to go, as long as you're going to use the checklist that I'm giving here in a bit, gathering of all the information that you need to have. You can whip through it really quickly. Secure access does require identity verification, and this applies to US-based entities and foreign entities like we've already walked through. Okay, this is what is incredibly important here, especially if you've been in business a while or you created within the this year. Okay, the timeline here. Companies that, I'm going to start with the bottom bullet actually. Companies that existed prior to January 1st, 2024 have all the way until January 1st, 2025 to do this. So if you set up your LLC or corporation prior to January 1st of 2024, you've got a little bit more time depending on when you're watching this. If you are a company that was created in 2024, you only have 90 days from the date of your creation to file. And my concern is that there's so many people in these groups and so many people are telling you, go and file an LLC on your own. You can figure it out. It's on the state corporation's website. Well, that's true to a point. However, like I've always said in all of my teachings, whether it's in my Facebook group, in the TheLawTog Academy, on at conferences and such where I speak, that also doesn't give you. Now it's going to be two things. The second thing is an operating agreement. Many states require you have an operating agreement, even if you don't file it with the state, but have it on file in your principal place of business, which could be your home office. That is a corporate formality that helps to preserve the limited liability company or corporation, having that liability protection. But now we have a third thing, this BOI filing. So again, if your company was created in 2024, you had 90 days to do it. If you haven't done it, you may want to call me at Eden Law and let's figure out how we can make sure you're avoiding any penalties and issues. Any new entities. So if you've not yet created your entity at all, maybe you're thinking, oh, new year, new me, I'm going to get the LLC created. You have to file within 30 days of formation or registration. Just an FYI, the BOI is federal. Do not fall for this if there's any state websites trying to get you to do it. It's a one-time filing, no yearly requirement. However, if you make updates to the information, you add owners, you remove owners, addresses, etc., you must update within 30 days of changes in ownership or control. Why is this important? Well, legal compliance. It fulfills the requirements that we've talked about under the Corporate Transparency Act. We already talked about the premise. Transparency helps prevent money laundering and other financial crimes, but most importantly, the penalties. Non-compliance can lead to fines and legal action. What are these penalties? This has been the big buzz about this information. Your civil penalties can start at $591 per day with a maximum penalty of $10,000. So that's civil is just typically for here's money, right? But criminal, it can happen up to 2 years in prison and a fine of $10,000. Y'all, we do not look good. Nobody looks good in prison orange. Let us not go down that path because you ain't going to be taking a lot of photographs in prison, okay? So let's just get this taken care of. But if you are one that falls within that timeline that we talked about a little bit up here, if you're one that was created in 2024 and you haven't done within 90 days, or if you end up becoming a new entity, you don't file within 30 days, and you're worried about the penalties, this is what I'm referring to. You need to come talk to me and let's see if there's some way we can work with FinCEN so that you're not going to be assessed the $591 per day fees of a max of $10,000. Okay, here's where we're going to get in the meat of it. How are we going to file the BOI report? I'm going to walk through each of these bullet points. I have screenshots from walking through the entire process on FinCEN for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is gather the information. I'm going to walk through that checklist here on the next screen for you to take a look at. You're going to register it on the FinCEN portal. You're simply going to enter information. You're going to submit it. You're going to confirm it. You're going to receive and keep that confirmation of filing. Why? Because technology does fail sometimes and we want to avoid those penalties. So here is the list of the information. This is the information you need to gather to ensure that all beneficial owners' details are accurate, right? Make sure they're accurate and make sure you have all of these. It's going to be broken up into 3 different sections before you get to submission. The first is reporting company. You can see on the screen the information you need for that. Then this basically is your company information, right? You've done the filing, so you should have all of this. Tax ID is important here. You're going to have to use your social if you're an LLC and you don't have an EIN. Again, if you're in the LawTog Academy, you already know I'm a big proponent of not using your social security number. If you're an LLC or a corporation, get an EIN. It's free through the IRS. And we walk you through in the Academy as well how to get that. And then the second section, or one of the other sections, actually I think it goes to company applicant next, is again, same information, legal name, date of birth, current address, etc. This is who the applicant is on behalf of the company. And then we move into beneficial owner section. This is who the owners that are benefiting from essentially the profits or the benefits of the company. Your legal name, date of birth, residential address. The biggest things on here that you need to pay attention to is accuracy and really your form of identification, making sure that the document numbers and the issuing jurisdiction are all correct as we walk through here. And then at submission time, you're going to need an email address and your first name and last name. And I'm going to pause here. Some of you, if you're the only person in your LLC, may be going, well, why would I give duplicate information? Because the company applicant that is submitting this BOI report may not be the beneficial owner of the company. For example, we do this on behalf of clients all the time. So if you're just completely overwhelmed and you want my firm to do it, we're happy to do it for you. But I'm pretty confident that you all, if you can run a business, you can do this, especially after this video. All right, so here's where we're going to start, how to file. Here's the link on the screen. It's boiefiling.fincen.gov. You can also just Google BOI filing and it'll come up. Again, do not go through any of these companies that are going to have you fill out the form and charge you because there is no fee for the BOI unless you're wanting somebody to answer questions for you. That's where like people like firms like myself come in to help. So you can file PDF or you can file online. In this video, I'm only going to walk through the online screenshots. I think most of you are going to do it that way, but it's the same information on either of them. One is just submitted and through PDF, and the other is through the interface. So here we go. We're going to start with the reporting company. Here's where I highly suggest that you request a FinCEN ID for reference. It's not required, but you can see here, number 3, you can request to receive a FinCEN ID. The reason I request this is because we want to have a track record. We want to avoid penalties. So even if you're going to have a confirmation, another backup is going to be having a FinCEN ID number because it's going to be a better way for them to be able to track you and look up any of your past filings. So this is where we walk through like reporting the company legal name. This is all the company information like we talked about before. Let me go back up to that screen real quick. So company information is going to be all of this: company name, any trade names, tax ID type. You're going to do a social security number if an LLC, or don't have an EIN, or use your EIN and input it in there. Your country of jurisdiction, this is only if you're a foreign company, and your current U.S. address. So this is the screen that it looks like for the reporting company. And then we're going to move over to company applicant. Remember, this is the person that is filing on behalf of the company, but it could also be the beneficial owner as well. More than likely, it is going to be you. Like I did mine, I was the one that filed it on behalf. So again, this is where timing is important. If you are a company, and this is going to help you avoid penalties, you don't want to screw this up because remember our timeline. If you are a company that existed prior to January 1, 2024, you have through January 1st, 2025. If you don't click existing reporting company, if you click or don't click it at all, and you have it set so where you have it just as a new company, they look at the dates, you could, if you don't fall in that 30 days as a brand new one, or the 90 days based on the timeline we talked about before, you could end up with penalties. So we don't want to do that. So pay attention. Reporting companies may report the FinCEN ID for a company applicant instead of the information. There's going to be other information in there. So if you get a FinCEN ID, it's essentially going to substitute for those fields. You'll see what that looks like. But if you don't get a FinCEN ID, you're going to have to walk through all the company applicant information. It's really no big deal, just to fill it out, because you already have the checklist from what I gave you. And then we're going, further on. So this is what that screen looks like here. I had just pulled that disclaimer out so you could read it. So if you have a FinCEN ID, that's where you're gonna input it under company applicant. And you can see here, this is what it looks like for company applicant. You're identifying document type, the document number, the address, etc. Told you guys it's pretty straightforward. Here's another chart that I got from FinCEN. Essentially walks through everything that we just talked about. If your reporting company was created, remember, it's important for those that were, actually it's important for everybody, because if you are somebody that, or an entity that was created or registered on or after January 1, 2024, then you don't have to identify a company applicant. If you were one, you're going to have to identify the company applicant, okay? So just walk through that. It's really no biggie if you end up filling it out anyways, but there's not a lot of mandatory blanks necessarily. There are a few. You don't want to leave something empty, think it's taken care of, and it's not. All right, so this is really the crux of everything. Besides the company information, and the beneficial owner section is really what they're after here. And we've already gone through the information that's needed. The legal name and date of birth, residential address, form of identification, document number, and issuing jurisdiction. And if you look at the screenshot here, it's a little small on this screen. You can click between these different buckets. You start with filing information, go to reporting company, company applicant if it's applicable, beneficial owner, then submit. Again, so who is a beneficial owner? It's an individual who either directly or indirectly, one, exercises substantial control over the reporting company, or two, owns or controls at least 25 of the reporting company's ownership interests. The examples I gave earlier are going to be the most common for you, common through the LawTog group or audience or referrals. Majority of you are either going to be your own like single member LLC by yourself, or you may have a partner, but keep in mind, if you are outside of those two, this defines for you what a beneficial owner is, and that gives you, identifies whose information needs to be put in the beneficial owner section here. And then how to submit. I know this seems like such a dumb screen, but I really wanted to walk through how important this is, because I want you to look at a couple of things. Well, before we get into that, anytime, and I'm getting loud about this, because this happens with copyright applications, this happens with trademark applications, when people try to DIY, anytime you're submitting to the government, you're certifying certain information, okay? Look here on the screen, you got two different spots. You got a little red asterisk here for mandatory that certifies that you're authorized to file the BOR on behalf of the reporting company, and then on behalf of the reporting company, the information contained is true, correct, and complete. Incredibly important, because we don't want to get dinged. And if it's not complete, you might be racking up penalties until they get a complete one. Compliance reminder: the willful failure to report complete beneficial information to FinCEN, willful failure to update, such as we talked about before, beneficial ownership information, previously reported information changes, or the willful provision of false or fraudulent beneficial ownership information to FinCEN may result in civil or criminal penalties. And so if you've got willfulness going on, it could be above and beyond the penalties that we already talked about. You do not want to fall into that inadvertently, okay? And then you're going to fill this out, and then I didn't scroll down enough because I wanted to show you the compliance. You just end up pressing submit, and you're done. And you should get a confirmation. So can I DIY? I've already said this. Yes, FinCEN expects that many, if not most, reporting companies will be able to submit their beneficial ownership information to FinCEN on their own using the guidance FinCEN has issued. Reporting companies that need help meeting the reporting obligations consult with professional service providers such as lawyers, accountants, or enrolled agents. I already mentioned we are happy to do that for you. Since it's federal, we can do it for any state at all. Really important. I see this a lot when people try to go set up their LLCs, registered agents, etc. You cannot use a P.O. box. So this might be a stumbling block for some of you. If all you've been using is a P.O. box, you're going to need to get one of those addresses, whether it's like a co-working space, etc. That's a physical street address. They will reject P.O. boxes. Updates. What residential address should be reported? For reporting company is required to report an individual's resident address, but that an individual does not have a permanent residential address or residential residence. The residential address that is current at the time of filing is what should be used. If you move, then you need to do an updated report that has to be submitted within 30 calendar days if the address or any of the other information previously reported changes. So keep that in your mind, and you should be doing a yearly legal audit. We do these at the firm with all of our clients. We do them typically at the beginning of the year. Has anything changed? Anything we need to do? Because if I hear that you've moved, it would go ding, 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 ding. You didn't let me know, even though you knew. But that's a good marker for me to stop you from having any further issues and say, oh no, we need to update your BOI. We need to update your address on your trademark. We need to update all these things. So just keep that in mind when you're going through this. The BOI is not just a one and done, no matter what people keep saying on the internet. It's not true. So summary, compliance, talked about timelines, accuracy, and then if you have any other resource questions, you can refer to FinCEN's website. They have a decent amount of I wouldn't say tutorials. They've got a good facts page, which is where I pull some of the screenshots of the I'm sorry, what is it? The flow charts. But if you have any additional questions, you can always hop in the TheLawTog group as well. But I am going to plug, if you need more help, I highly encourage you, especially if there's a lot of things I said in this that you don't understand, you need to join the TheLawTog Academy. We have modules upon modules of tailored legal content just for photographers by the go-to legal resource in the industry, from business setup to taxes to insurance, marketing legally, and more. I hope you guys feel really good and well equipped to move forward with doing your BOI report. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump into the TheLawTog BOI group. The TheLawTog group, and there will be a BOI thread, and we can help you.